Here's what you need to know if you want to create true happiness. Not the television happiness, but real life happiness. They are not the same thing. Here are 3 of the most frequent things I have noticed that stop my clients from living true joy. Things you need to stop doing in order to find a happier version of yourself. First off, stop seeking an older version of you. We often mistakenly think that the old days or the good old days were the better days, that the old you looked better, felt better. But here's the problem with seeking an older version of yourself. You are not allowing for a newer version of you to thrive, to unfold. I often use the analogy of a flourishing plant. We all need to blossom, reach our full potential, but if we're not in the right environment, that is the soil, that is our mind, and if the climate isn't right, and if we're not nourishing it adequately, the right surroundings, the right opportunities, then we are in constant disappointment. The older version of you, the version that was maybe more fit, that didn't have children, the version that used to travel more often, maybe it was a great version, but every day that you're alive, you have the opportunity to build a newer version, more grounded version, maybe a calmer version, or a more ambitious version of you. Maybe a version that embraces the current moment rather than thriving off the past. I heard this in a podcast by Ed Milet recently, and he said that the reason children have such creativity and curiosity about the future, the reason they're so imaginative is because they have no history to compare to. There's no remember when for them. They just look forward. So maybe take that as an incentive to stop looking back and start looking forward to the possibility of who you can be now and onwards. Number 2, and this is some tough love, but stop identifying with something that happened to you. Let me elaborate. Now, a lot of people go through some kind of trauma in their life, and they tend to identify with the thing that they experienced. Say, for example, a victim of a car accident, but of course you survived. Or you were someone who was teased in high school, or always last picked, and you constantly let those things become the underlying of your identity, the baseline of who you are. That is the problem. I'll share a personal example, and maybe this applies to some of you. So I wasn't raised by 2 parents. I'm a product of divorce, and more than that, is I was raised by my father, which is a bit unusual. And I often get asked the question, wasn't that hard? Don't you resent your childhood? Isn't that so upsetting for you? And I could have easily chosen the path of, this is what happened to me and therefore life sucks. I'm an abandoned child, blah, blah, blah. I'll add that I was sent to live in another country with my father at a very young age. Okay, but here's what I didn't do. I didn't identify with that event, and I've never let it get in the way of my own happiness. It happened to me. In some ways it was sad or unfortunate, but I didn't let it become my identity. I want to make an important distinction. Not identifying with a bad or traumatic event that happened to you doesn't mean that you should never feel the emotions of it. It doesn't mean that you should mask or ignore the effects that it had on you. A car crash, a serious illness, abuse, losing a parent, all of these things are absolutely terrible. I just don't want you to be the person who was for the rest of your life, because the sadness of that can easily prevent true happiness from coming into your life. I'm not unhappy because of my upbringing or my missed experiences. I am beyond happy because I got to change that narrative for my own children. You see what I did there? You get to dictate the future. So stop identifying with the bad things that happened to you. If you're in a perpetual mindset of it's not fair, why me, that is handicapping, and that will prevent true happiness from pouring into your life. Number 3, stop waiting on future events for fulfillment. I'll be happy when I'm on vacation. I'll be happy when I'm finally married. I'll be happy when I have children. I'll be happy when I graduate and get a job. I'll be happy when I'm retired. Happiness can't stem from future events for 2 reasons. Number 1, future is not guaranteed. What if you don't graduate? What if you never get married? Does that mean you'll never be happy? And number 2, happiness needs to come from the journey of what it is you're pursuing. It's through aiming for whatever you wish. And I'm not saying don't wish for the stars, but it's through aiming for those things that true happiness actually arises. I want to hear which of these 3 ideas resonated with you the most in the comments below and what you want to hear more of. You are your greatest investment, and thank you for being here.